Rating NRL fantasy sides, we're back for part 3, and I've figured out a way to make this a lot faster, guys. So I've pre-rated, written my notes. I'm going to share them with you now. First up, this side from Val's, great start here. A lot of pods, but there's a few guys I'd recommend selling here. So Josh Curran, Scott Sorensen, KO Weeks, Josh Schuster, and then at wing fullback, you got the Turbo Ponga combo there. I'd probably think about maybe trimming that down, using some of that money elsewhere. But if you move those guys on, I think you'll be in a good spot. Try to buy some of the other forwards that we've talked about this week. So we're going to have a look at trials this week. But I'll tell you what, I just came out of watching the Eels trial game, and Kelma Tuolangi, doesn't he look good? Bring him into that back row spot. I'm pretty confident he gets to start after tonight's game. Next up, Isaac the Dragons. We got the Yo Cleary stack, which is super clean there. There's a few teams that come through that do have that. Deep bench as well. So Seyfarth, Munster, Jaden Campbell. Jaden Campbell's a big pod there. And for Campbell, he probably comes in and makes his backline look a bit better. Right now, Toyer and Jack Bird, it's a bit light, but Garrett can move into the centers. We could see Jaden Campbell slide in. And we've got a pretty good side here. So look, the Campbell pod I really like. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. Bamba rolling through, another Tuolangi team. Right, so Tuolangi's in a couple of these teams. I think he's going to be in all the teams next week. That's my prediction after tonight's game. Center pairing, bit light. Again, Jack Bird, Robert Toyer. Looking at the bench, you don't have heaps of backup at center either. You've got, Purdue, Nawani Tuase. There we go. We got it. And then you got Watson on the bench, though. Watson and Seyfarth. So you've gone really forward heavy with this team. Backline is good. I mean, the wing fullbacks are really good. The centers are a bit light, but again, Garrett can slide in. So I'll throw this an 8.5 out of 10. It's a very strong looking side. All right, Youngie with the Money Munster Munchers. So for this side here, let's have a look. So forward pack, really strong. You've got Watson, May, Horsburgh, Papali'i, Hopgood. Hopgood's one that I'm a bit dicey about. Cartwright came on and played a bit of lock. There's a bunch of guys who could steal minutes at lock. Charlie Geimer played there a bit tonight as well. He was all right in this game. So for the forward pack, I would maybe think about Hopgood and whether you want to keep him. You've also got Tommy Gilbert on the bench, Nafu White on the bench as well. It's a very deep forward pack, which I do like. I just think about Hopgood and potentially swapping him. In terms of the back line, some interesting pods here. So Marzu, Bradman Best, and Ryan Pappenhausen. Newcastle have a buy in round 4, but 2 of them is absolutely fine. You just don't want to carry 3 of them. So Marzu and Best, I actually like the look at them. I think they're quite cheap, and on that edge, they should be pretty good. Pappenhausen. Yeah, Pappenhausen and Munster. So round 2 buy should be okay with 2 of those guys as well. So I don't mind that. And Pappenhausen has the blonde hair in that new photo. So it looks pretty clean. All right, ISO Joe with Breepers. Let's see this team. So we're looking at a forward pack that is pretty strong here, man. So Isaiah Yeo and Payne Haas. So that's the first time we've seen that combination. So you've got Isaiah Yeo, Payne Haas. You've got Nathan Cleary. You've got Latrell Mitchell. You've got Koloamatangi there as well. So you've sort of gone really heavy with, Terrell May, Max Pluth, these sort of top tier guns. But then what you're seeing here is a guns and cheapies approach. So Jezewski in the starting side. You've got Ben Trebojevic in the starting side. Yongi's in there, but most teams have him. And then on the bench, guys like Royce Hunt, Jackson Purdue, you're leaning on them as scorers in round 1. It's a different strategy. So this strategy works really well. Actually, I might do a video separately on this, on strategies for how you set up your roster. So the guns and cheapie strategy, Biz loves it, by the way. It works really well when you're in a season where there's a lot of cash cows. So there are a lot of cheapies who are really good. If you're confident, Sandon Smith, Corey Pakes, Royce Hunt, Jackson Purdue, you're confident those guys are going to be decent scorers, and this strategy is absolutely perfect. But if they fall over, then you totally ruin your season by doing this. So it's a risk versus reward thing. I like it quite a bit. I'm going to go 7.5 out of 10 right now. I just think there's a few changes that will come through this team, particularly Ben Trebojevic. I know it's not that bad, but I just can't handle seeing him. And Hamaso Tabuai-Fidow, I don't think he's a big fantasy producer compared to the player he is in real life, so I'd move off him as well. Then, Corey Pakes is interesting. He's not in many teams, but you can't have Moser. He's going to be out for round 1. All right, Hallie, 9 out of 10. I'm starting this off with 9 out of 10. I think this is a fantastic team. So you've got Haas, Cleary, and Yo in there. You've got Watson and Horsburgh on the bench too. So there's a very clear strategy here. And when I say 9 out of 10, 7 out of 10, whatever it is, it's about the team structure. So I'm not saying copy this team, any sort of thing, but I like that this is a different side because you've gone Payne Haas, you've gone Isaiah Yeo, you've gone Nathan Cleary, you got Ponga down the back, but you've also balanced it out a bit with a bit of depth as well. So the reason this is a 9 out of 10 compared to the last team is I go to the bench and Sandon Smith, Connor Watson, Corey Horsburgh, and Duffy there. I think they should all be good scorers. And then the rest of the bench is guys who will play. But Royce Hunt, for example, isn't a scorer for this team. So, look, overall, I think it's a really nice, balanced side. Tyrone Munro, you have to start him to make money space, but you got Garrick in the centers there. Metcalf's in. Marmazelis, you're relying on him. But overall, this is a really clean side. Howarth, you said doing money in the back row. I think this is one of the better sides I've seen. So 9 out of 10. I considered going 9.5, but it is too early to do anything like that. Actually, one thing I will add here is you could probably make a bit of money by grabbing Kelma Talangi as well. So if Kelma gets a start, I'd probably start him over Howarth, and you'd save yourself about 50K. So pretty clean move. All right, then we've got Mike here, the juggling fools. So let's see this team. Paddy Carrigan, vice captain, is a big pod. You got Crichton, Ola Kawatu as well. So there's a lot of pods in the forward pack. And then Crichton at center. So I don't mind this. There's a reason you'd like each of those guys, but they're not guys I'm really targeting too much. So I'm not going to mark you down for having pods there. I will say too, Ponga and Latrell, that big combo at wing fullback is pretty clean. So overall, this side here, I'm a bit worried about the bench. Tamale, Bird, Nawani Tawase, and McLean. You got Derby there as well. The bench is a bit shallow for mine. I think you need a little bit more juice on the bench. I think you've gone a little bit too heavy in some of these starting spots. So I'd try and add a bit of juice to the bench. Right now, it's a 7 out of 10 for me. Just remind you how to join, guys. Link in the description. It is basically just signing up, and then you can send across your team in the Discord. 10-day free trial. So if you just want to get your team rated once, then cancel. That's possible as well. But we do run these through the season. I'll be doing a lot of advice just before round 1 as well. So those last minute changes, when there are team list changes, I'll be sort of giving you that play-by-play reaction and telling you about my team when we get into that last week as well, and sort of the decisions that I'm making, things I'm tossing up. So we'll set you up really well to win your leagues. Ruck around and find out. This is a great team name, I might add. So for this side here, it's a good side. I mean, I'm looking here and we've got a really strong forward pack. Jacob Preston's a big pod that we have here. Down the list here, Ponga Pappenhausen duo, Fisher Harris, Metcalf, Sandon Smith, Duffy on the bench. I like the bench. I think it's a good scoring bench. And I think the fact that you've added some middle depth is really good because Fisher Harris might be a starter for you round 1, and you may move Connor Watson into hooker. So really good side here. I'll throw this team an 8.5 out of 10. I think it's a clean roster. Then for Cash, we got his real team, Papi. He was the one who sent one of the joke teams earlier on. I think it was the one I said was the worst team ever. So let's be a bit nicer this time. Harry Grant's in there, which is really nice. You got the Yo and Cleary combo as well. The second rowers are interesting. So Papali'i, Bateman, a little bit uncertain in terms of minutes, but I like the upside of both those guys. I think they're my second rowers right now as well. So, if they get the minutes, they're fantastic, but it is a bit dicey. Center pairing, Toya, Jack Bird, bit light, but the rest of the team is really nicely balanced. You've got a lot of depth on the bench for each position as well, so I feel all right about that. 8.5 out of 10 for you, man. This is a good side. I think it'll improve after the weekend of trials. All right, Blabe, 871. So big pod again with Jacob Preston. We've got Finafuyaki in the team. So Finafuyaki, there's a bit of talk that he may split minutes, all that sort of thing. It's going to be hard to tell from trials because guys split minutes anyway in the trials. But Finafuyaki, I'm not confident enough that he'll get the minutes. I think you can replace him with Kelma Talangi anyway, and you're pretty easy there. Center pairing is pretty stacked there. So Dylan, Lucas, Ruben, Garrick are in a really good spot there. And Garrick does cover wing fullback as well. So, if Toya needs to come in, Garrick needs to move to big fullback, whatever it is, you're in a pretty good position for that. So I'll give this an 8 out of 10. All right, then D's nuts, the Bandits. So Yo captain is the big thing. So you've gone really different here. No Nathan Cleary in this side. I'm not a fan of no Nathan Cleary. I think you got to have Nathan Cleary. But at the same time, if everyone has Nathan Cleary and you don't, you either totally get destroyed or you get ahead if, Yo goes better than Cleary does, if Cleary gets hurt, whatever it is there, knock on wood. But yeah, it's a different move. It's not the move I'd make, but I'm going to grade it pretty well because I actually like the fact that you're taking a bit of a zig rather than zag. You're taking a move that no one else is taking. So I like it. Cobbo's another pod as well. Theoretically, there's upside there. Ben Hunt creates tons for his outside back, so that could be good. Kolomatangi on the bench as well, so it's a really deep forward pack that you have here. You've just invested hard into the forwards. You've gone Cam Munster and Jerome Luai, who, Munster and Luai both have big upside, some question marks, but very big upside. Center pairing is a bit light. Overall, I'm going to go 8.5 out of 10 for this team. It's a great side, really different moves there, very potty. So we'll see how it pans out, but it could blow up in your face as well. All right, Poison coming in. So this side is anything but Poison. Really good side. Backline's really strong. So you got Dylan Lucas, Kellen Ponga in there. I like the cheapies you have in there. We've talked about those guys a bunch, but they're really good options. Forward pack's really deep as well. So Kelmer on the bench, Seyfarth on the bench, and then you've got a couple of other guys down the bench there too. Starters are really strong. So for the forward pack, I really like that. I think you need to have a couple of backups on the bench for your forwards, and the Kelmer is one of the perfect ones. Seyfarth, if he gets the minutes, it's a bit dicey. 8.5 out of 10 for me. I'm giving good grades to anyone who has Kelmer Talangi after watching that Para game because I think he's earned the spot 100%. All right, Humbucks. So some big pods here for you. So we've got Reece Robson at the top. We have Jacob Preston in the forward pack there. Greg Marzu down the back line. Look, I like all those guys for different reasons. Robson's one of those guys who needs to find the attacking game again for me to be interested, but he normally starts the year well. So if you're going to get Robson, you might as well get him in round 1 and just roll with that. Greg Marzu, good matchups. Ponga feeding him. Preston has that potential as well. I would say on the bench there, bring Duffy up. Put Monroe down one spot. Center pairing, bit light again as well. So the Bird and Toya, no money on centers is actually a reasonable strategy, by the way. But it's just worth noting there's a bit of a vulnerability. If you're going to do this, both Bird and Toya can miss games based on getting dropped or injuries, that sort of thing. So you need to have a comfortable backup somewhere. Your backup is probably Purdue. Yeah, I think he's center eligible. He will be if he's not. But yeah, it's a bit light at center, so you might be using trades at center, more trades than you like. And sometimes it's better just to get a guy who you can kind of trust at center and, hope that it sticks. So I'm going to go throw it as an 8 out of 10 regardless. I think it's a good side. Just a quick one, how to join. Link in the description there. I'll put it in the comments as well. But just jump in there. You sign up on the Casual Athletes WAP there. Gets into the private community. There's a bunch shared in there outside of these as well, but I just post these up so you guys can all see the team rates. You can kind of see the logic, but if you want your team rated, that's how you do it. All right, YRNJ. Let's see this team here. So the Yo and Cleary stack again. We've got the vice captain duo. Kelma Tuolangi. I'm not going to talk about it anymore, but he's a weapon. Bo Firma in the centers. So Bo Firma's a big pod. He's a big pod, and he's a guy who's not owned by many coaches, which is what pod means. I don't know why I'm repeating myself there, but he's one of those guys who could pump out big numbers. Titans look better this year. They've got an exciting halves pairing coming to the year in Jaden Campbell and AJ Brimson. So I think they should be playing pretty free-flowing, expansive footy. Bo Firma could benefit there. The other thing is you do have the opportunity for a loophole here. So I'm looking at Tamale. I'm looking at Toya. You've got a couple of guys there that you can loophole right in. Nawani Tawase could also be used in this as well. But basically, you can use that round 1 to take the biggest score from, a couple of guys there. So keep an eye on that. I'm a big fan of this. Both of them are big pod. Marzu's a pod. Tamale is a bit dicey with the sort of status in the team, whether he gets dropped for Albert Hawadi, whatever it is. Keep an eye on that, closer to round 1. But this is a 9 out of 10 team. I just think it's a really nicely balanced roster. But you've taken one big pod, and another. I guess Greg Marzu is another one. But you've taken a really big pod in Bo Firma. And again, I look at a team, and we're playing for overall, right? So if you're playing head to head, you don't have to do this as much. And maybe let me know when you send me your team if it's head to head. But for overall, I think you need to find something to make different about your team. And Bo Firma is an option there. I'm thinking about Jaden Campbell for my team if the kick meters are good in the All-Star game. Yeah, you just got to find something that makes you different and that gives you a chance to race into number 1 spot and try to win fantasy. So the year I won, I took a few of those really big calls and they paid off. But in other years, I've taken those big calls and they've blown up in my face, right? So it's not a recipe for a good ranking, a steady rank, but it is a recipe for going for that top spot. So 9 out of 10 for me, really good side. Moody sent through 2 teams. I'm going to review them both because he's a legend. So that's easy. So Moody, version 1, backline's really clean. So Bradman Best in there, Turbo, Latrell. They're your rank guys. Olakwatu's a big pod. The bench is very light. So Metcalf is that guy. But then, Royce Hunt's in there. Derby, How Tapua. Pacific Tonga is all right. So the bench is quite light. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10, though, because I think you can find your way around those cheapies potentially. I really like the starting side, but I just would try to find some money to move on to the bench. Maybe downgrading Olakwatu to Kelma Tuolangi and then using that money to upgrade, How Tapua or Derby or one of those guys. But 8 out of 10 for now. Your second version team drops down to a 7 out of 10. So you brought in Adnan Fanua Blake. You lost Latrell Mitchell. You replaced him with Munro, which was hard to see when I swapped. Because look at Munro right now. It's like little South jersey, So I almost missed it. But you lost Latrell there. Added Yo into the team. I just think the bench is still light. But the Adnan Fanua Blake acquisition, I'm not a fan of. He's not going to get the minutes, even though he's an absolute weapon. So 7 out of 10 for this one. All right, Maz W. George. Let's see this team. So, good side. Bench, Horsburgh, Munster, Metcalf, Marzu, and then you got Toya, Duffy as well. Jaseski and Hunt, a bit less exciting, but that bench is really, really deep. So have you lost much in the starting team? I mean, Marmazelis is in there. Bateman's a bit dicey, but I don't mind it. Sandon Smith is a starter. That's where you bring up some cash. Howarth in there. Yongi, Munro. It's a pretty good side. 8.5 out of 10. Just really deep side. Again, your forward pack, you've been investing in that forward pack. You've gone cheapies in the back line. So I'm a fan of it. I will say one thing. There's not a lot of depth for the outside backs in your team. So you might want to try and move one guy for an outside back. And it's up to you. I guess you got Marzu there, though. Actually, no, you don't need it. Sorry. You don't need it. So there's not normally a lot of wing fullbacks in those interchange spots. So yeah, Marzu's there. I think you're all right. 8.5 out of 10. Ned Flanders. So we got Flanders' team. Finafuyaki is in there again. I'm not a fan of the minutes, but something could come out in the next week or two, and maybe he becomes an option. But right now, I think he's going to be sharing minutes, so I'm not a fan of it. Matty Burton, big pod. Again, I like a pod stake, and Matt Burton's one of those. Vilea and KO Weeks. So Vilea is a bit limited as a fantasy producer, but he's going to get that opportunity. So if you back him, you back him. KO Weeks was electric last night. But again, the base stats aren't fantastic. You're relying on big, big plays. But he makes those sorts of plays semi-frequently. So, you could take a shot at this. I mean, KO Weeks is very risky. I'm recommending that you don't do it. But there's like a 5% chance that it's a genius move and it pays off for you. So if you want to do it, you want to do it. Kobe Hetherington starting at lock for the Broncos, most likely. Will the minutes be there? Will his PPM be enough? Madge did play off a Hengawi for big minutes when he was there at the Tigers. So Hetherington could be good. 7.5 out of 10 for mine. A lot of questions in the air, but it is a good looking side. So you should be okay. Just reminder how to join, guys. Link. I'm not going to tell you again. You know how to do it. Link. And that's Rate My Team. Done and dusted for this week. So we did 3 parts there. Feel free to check out those other ones. I also got a bunch of videos on positional breakdowns. Next week, I'm going to do some videos on strategy as well. We're going to do recaps of the trials. Right now, there's a few guys that really stand out for me. But Nico Hines is one that I'm off. Kelma Talangi, I'm on. Fogarty looked good as well in that game too. So keep an eye on the Instagram as well. I'll be posting some little clips, some thoughts, all that sort of thing. Otherwise, jump on to Discord for Rate My Team. Link in the description. I'll see you guys there.